Hey guys, welcome back. I am Jason Salyer, and you can easily spend hundreds of dollars on a blade of this size right here. This Schrade Machete. You could easily spend hundreds of dollars. This one, however, costs $15, but is it worth anything? And that's really what we're going to find out today. Is a budget blade like this one worth its weight? All right, let's crack into this thing here. It's ironic that you need a knife to unbox a knife. There we go. So we're out, and it does come with a sheath, which is kind of cool. Pretty lightweight, very lightweight. It advertises it as full tang, which anybody that's ever watched any bushcraft video knows that that's a absolute must. But it is nice to have the steel of the blade going all the way through the handle. It's just going to make it stronger, more robust. When I think of a machete, I think of a flexible blade. I think of something that's going to have some give to it, but not, it's going to bend, but then return back to its original position, original shape, really easily and really reliable. And this has some bend to it. It's got a little bit of flex to it, not an overly thick blade. Pretty thin, so that means it's probably going to slice through material pretty well. It's got a dual bevel on it. It's got this, let's see if I can get you to focus in on that. It's got this one large bevel here, one grind, and then a secondary one that tapers it to its actual cutting edge. So it's not going to be as sharp as if that bevel would just go all the way to the point, but what that will do is make it a little bit more durable. It's not going to have a tendency to roll its edge or anything like that. This is stainless steel. What do they call it? They call it 3CR13. I am no metallurgist, so I don't know much about that particular type of steel. All I will know is that it works or it does not work. This is the cheapest machete that I could find. It was $15, and I got it at Tractor Supply. Yeah, I mean, that works, and you can wear that on your belt. Overall, I kind of like the size and weight of this machete. It's got some, what do you call this, chimping here on the back side. I have no idea what the purpose of that. Probably just to make it look cool. Probably some sort of marketing ploy, if I had to guess. Because, I mean, you can't, because of the way the handle is shaped, you can't really put your thumb on it to get any extra traction or anything like that. So it really doesn't serve much purpose. The back of the blade is not 90 degrees, so you couldn't really scrape a ferro rod very effectively with it. You would have to modify it, but that just takes a second on a grinder. So I've been meaning to come down here and clear this creek out a little bit. The jungle is slowly encroaching upon it, and what better way to test a machete than kind of what a machete is designed to do, and clear some trail. Comes with a pretty serviceable edge on it. It's not, I wouldn't call it a razor or anything like that, but it is pretty sharp. Very pokey. Man, that has got a heck of a point on it. It doesn't slice as well as my Colombian-made machete. My Galavan machete, my Colombian one, that thing is like a laser beam through, you know, freestanding kind of thin branches and vines and stuff. This one doesn't slice quite as well as that, probably just because of that secondary bevel. But it does seem to get the job done. Briars are the worst. That's where a longer blade comes in handy. This one's a little bit short. A longer machete would be more handy for briars and things like that. They're going to tear you up. Keeps you a little bit further away, like that. Hey. Go. The sheath is okay. It's all right. It's a little bit tricky to get in and out. The pointiness of the blade, the really sharp pokiness of the blade, kind of hangs up in this nylon-y material. but it's all right, you know. Like I was saying, my Colombian machete, man, that thing is just straight through, really easily, effortless through the light, flimsy little vines and branches. This one takes a little bit more effort to make that happen, just because of the blade geometry, I'm guessing. And it works. It works. It's got a good stopper right here on the back of the grip that's going to keep this from coming out of your hand, and you can kind of relax your hand a little bit and not get so tired from squeezing the crap out of it. So that's good, comfortable. Doesn't seem like it's going to give me any blisters. I mean, obviously anything will eventually give you blisters, but this one's pretty comfy. So something else that's really good about this machete, I think, is that it's a stainless steel option. I get it, you can't strike sparks off the back of it to do a flint and steel fire. Not that that's probably ever really going to happen in a survival situation anyway, because it would require you having charred cloth, and if you were prepared enough to have charred cloth, you just have multiple ways to start fire. But anyway, it's not going to rust on you. So if I'm in a humid, moist, wet environment like I am right now, and I you know, drop it in the creek, you know, I leave it out on the ground, whatever. Not that I would probably do that, because that's not smart. But if I'm just not taking care of it, you know, as well as I should, it's not going to matter, because it's not going to rust on you. So this is something significantly bigger than you probably do in the wilderness type setting. You're not going to have a chainsaw to be cutting up giant big logs, but it's a good test for something like this to see how the blade holds up. Again, it's good to have a flex to it. You want some bend to the blade, but you always want to make sure it returns back to its original position and doesn't get warped or get weird on you. Might need a heavier baton. Hitting the handle, which is never recommended, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to allow it. I mean, I'm abusing the crap. I would never recommend that you actually do this to your blade. There'd be really no need to put it through this much abuse, but for demonstration purposes and to test this thing out and to see how much it can really take, to see if it's a solid option for only $15, I'm gonna really abuse it. It kind of hurts my hand a little. Handle's not holding up good to the abuse, so where I was whacking it with this baton, you can see right here that it's split and cracked. This rubbery handle is not indestructible, but again, I would never recommend whacking your handle of your knife with a baton. So I broke my baton in half, beating on this thing, and you can look down. Hopefully you can see that. Looking down, you can see the blade has got a real curve to it. It's really bending. Hasn't broken, which is good. I'm beating the tar out of this thing. Maybe give it one of these. Give it one of those. See what happens.
Do you know how many people are going to scrutinize you for doing what you're doing?
I don't care. Hey, listen, there's a lot. You filming? Mm-hmm. Listen, my wife said there's going to be a lot of people out there that might scrutinize me for what I'm doing, how I'm abusing this sharp object. And I'm wearing sandals on top of it.
You don't.
Listen, if I want to risk my life, if I want to risk my toes doing something, abusing a tool to demonstrate how tough something is or not tough something is, I'll do it the way I want. So you can kiss it and shut up about your baby. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So the grip of the handle is coming off with the abuse. So there's the problem with a handle like this. It's kind of just over molded and formed around the steel. There's no actual pins of any kind. There's nothing, excuse me, there's nothing bolting it to the steel. So under extreme abuse like this, it's just kind of falling apart. And I could probably pull that rubbery handle off now, but I'm gonna stick it back on there for the time being. It is a full tang blade. I mean, the grip or the steel goes all the way through. It's the real deal. They're not exaggerating on that. But this handle is not really secured to it. So that's happening. You can see the handle or the blade steel coming through right here. You know, that is definitely a weakness there, and it might eventually tear up and wear out on you. Again, under normal use, normal abuse, probably not. I think it would probably hold up pretty well. But I would like to see a handle literally bolted, fixed to the steel on a blade like this. High impact, something that's going to be getting jarred, abused a lot. Listen, now I understand stuff happens and you should take precautions. You know, you were using a chainsaw, wearing chainsaw chaps and protective eyewear and hearing protection, all that stuff. Yeah, that makes sense, and I get it. And I do take precautions from time to time, but you know, I just want to do me. You know, if you want to wear all the safety gear, steel-toed boots every time you go outside, then go for it. But you know, do you. They're about to go through now. We're almost through. And we are through. Finally. Good grief. Didn't think that was going to be hard to split. But yeah, our handle definitely failed. Maybe get it back on there. Yeah. Maybe get it back on there, but that's definitely not going to hold up to some really extreme abuse. Now let's look at the blade. Oh, it's fine. So I'm looking down it. I don't see any warpage or bendage to it. Held up really good. It's not damaged in any way. Edge is in still good shape. The handle was just definitely the weak link. It's a comfy, rubbery kind of handle, but you know, if you're really going to be abusing something, it's just not going to hold up. It'll do some fine carving, draw knife kind of work. It's not a razor sharp edge. You know, I could definitely touch it up and get it to be a little bit sharper, but it does the job. Making some feather sticks, accessing the inner wood, the dry stuff that we might need to get ourselves a fire going. I don't like that really sharp point on the blade. I mean, I like a little bit of a point, but that one just seems excessive. I mean, it looks cool, I guess. That's probably why they did it like that. But otherwise, I don't really see a purpose for having a point like that unless you're planning on using it in combat of some sort. So, but yeah, it's a little too pointy for kind of some of the work that I would want to do with it. The Schrade Machete, $15, cheapest thing I could find at Tractor Supply. Not bad. I mean, I give it a stamp of approval. I mean, it's not, I don't think you're going to mess that handle up under normal wear and tear. Maybe eventually, but I think it'd probably last quite a long time. The steel seems to be pretty good, pretty durable. For $15, it's hard to beat. I'd like you to leave a comment today and tell me if this cat is cross-eyed or not. What do you think? Can you see it? Hit that thumbs up, and we will see you on the next video. Cross-eyed crazy cat.